Hey, it's me, ABSD, and welcome to the Inner Dialogue podcast. To be completely honest, my energy feels funky today. And I don't know if that's because I was working through some big feelings in therapy or that I am in transition in a lot of areas in my life, but it's a little uncomfortable. And it's interesting because I don't think I fully have words for what this feeling is yet and how to navigate it and feel through it. So I'm giving myself some grace and patience, but I also wanted to bring that into the space today. I've wanted to podcast every day for the last couple of days and just have either forgotten or got caught up with other things or decided to read instead. And so it's been about 2 weeks since I logged into this space and sat with my inner dialogue, my inner thoughts, and gave myself some grace and patience along this journey. And I felt like I needed it today and wanted to sit in this space with myself and all of you. Today's January 30th. It's 3:36 p.m., 2024. And I am in just a very transitional place in my life. I've recently decided to stop the work I was doing as an independent contractor with the mindset company I was working for. It was no longer in alignment, and it felt like I was moving into what was next in my life, although I don't fully know what that is and how that's going to come in. And that has caused some stress in itself in my life, not knowing how and not knowing what. And truthfully, gaining clarity around it has been muddled a bit too. I have not worked a full time job in about a year and a half now, a little over. And I am applying for some full time jobs here with the city that excite me and excite the idea of learning from inside of the city and growing in that avenue. And I'm excited about that work and excited about the potential for that work. And sitting waiting to hear back if I got an interview or what that process will look like has been painful in my brain. And it's the knowing that I have to be patient, that I can't control the timeline on that. And also all of the other aspects that are coming up. Should I apply for other jobs? Should I continue searching? I already sent a follow up email. There are so many ifs, ands, and buts. And in the meantime, I'm trying to bring in some other income into our lives to help with our finances because, y'all, I don't think I've really been fully transparent, but about our finances because it's something hard to talk about. Money is, for me, has always been hard to talk about because it hasn't really ever been a subject of topic. It hasn't been something that someone taught me how to manage or taught me how to save or taught me how to look at money or finances or income or all of these different pieces. And so talking about money has always felt like this barrier of this hush hush, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. It's not a problem. And we are in a place where I feel a little stressed out about it. And to be completely transparent, and I don't even know what to say or how to say it in this space, if I'm being honest. And I don't know how much I do want to share or not share about our financial situation, but I want it to be better. I want to grow in it, and I don't want to feel these feelings that I'm feeling around finances and money. And money's just been a topic in my mind a lot this week. And not only because of my own finances, but because I went to a coffee with counsel, and every single person in this city that came and voiced something of concern, the ultimate root of that concern was money. And it just mind boggles me and is total bullshit how money completely rules our lives as humans. And most things root back to money and the core issue of it being money. I'm sitting on a grants committee right now where we're doing site visits with different nonprofits who are applying for these grants and listening to why they need more money or what they would use this money for so much good in the world. And whether or not they wrote a good DEI statement or their outcome statement is good, like determines whether or not that we think that they are worthy of having more money for their cause. And not everybody can get grant money. And sitting on this side of the table, being part of the reason and decision of who gets money and who doesn't, and is such a different feeling of being than the person who was asking for money or being on the side of working for a nonprofit. And while I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to sit on this side, the site visit that I had today was eye-opening because reading their grant, I was really not impressed. And I didn't feel like the outcomes were well outlined, and they did not have any plan in place to advance their DEI inside of their organization. And they weren't even really serving this community. This community is a community that they serve, but less than 10% of the people that they serve are in this community. And what they're doing is amazing. But I also had this dread having to fill out my side of the grant section because I was not rating them well. And I had a lot to say, and their score was not as great as the first one that I did. And this feeling of, and it's not my sole decision whether or not this organization gets money or not. There's multiple reviewers on each case. And then we come together as a grant committee and talk about it even further. But it is something that it's tying back into this concept of money and this idea of that we have so many barriers because of money. Resources equal money, opportunities equal money, building equals money, tree removal equals money, getting AC in your house equals money, going to school equals money. Like everything in life is tied to money in some form or fashion. And not everything, I should say. I shouldn't generalize it that large, but holy shit, most things. And I despise it with a fiery passion. And I think it is utter bullshit. And money one day was just a person who made it up and decided that this was now going to be the thing that was currency and that everything in life was going to have a price tag attached to it. And the unfortunate thing is, over the last 6 months, I have had to learn how to detach my worthiness as a human being with the dollar sign of money attached to it, and realize that my worth and the amount of money that I make, or the class that I fall inside of, or the income that my family brings in, does not determine how much worth I am as a human being, have as a human being. And it makes me so sad because, unfortunately, for so many people in society, that those are equal. Worth and money are equal. And honestly, the leadership of this country, it's equal. And it's so heartbreaking because money is just a means to an end, and it does not define our worth or whether we're enough or whether we should be loved. And we have that as being, it's our birthright as being a human being, as living a human life, as being existing in this time and place now. And it just is heartbreaking that there are so many opportunities and so many beautiful resources available that are being gatekept by money. And I want to change that. I want to change that at a core fundamental societal level, because I do not believe that that's how we as human beings are meant to be designed and to live. I do not believe that. I do not believe that that life is supposed to be equal to the amount of money. That just feels silly. It feels so silly. And I want to change that. I want to see change there. And not only because of the feelings that I have inside now and just truthfully the bullshit that it brings, but also that it doesn't it doesn't make any sense to me that there are people in this world without food and shelter. And that's heartbreaking. And the fact that we just overlook it and say, yeah, that's fine. The fact that this country was built on the backs of others and we're like, yeah, it's fine, is bullshit. And I just don't believe in it. And I don't believe that that's the way of the future. I believe that we have to actually look at these things face on in order to change them and grow from them and create a new foundation. And that's what I want for our world and for each of us, every single individual one of us, because the feelings I have inside, I know that I'm not alone in how I feel about money and how it feels internally when you don't have enough of it and when you have fear around it and when you're not able to have the opportunities or the resources that you want because of money. And to all of the people out there who are listening to this that empathize with that, I'm sending you so much love. And I just encourage you right now to give yourself a little self hug. Because you're doing amazing with what you have. And the fact that society does not give us enough, or the fact that we have to jump through hoops to have what we need, I want you to know you're doing amazing with what you have. And I'm proud of you. And that your worth is not defined by the amount of money in your bank account or the amount of money that you can earn yearly. Or for hell, your job. Your worth is not tied to your job. And I love you. I did not realize in this episode that I was going to go on a money tangent, but that was what I talked about in therapy today. And so it's very fresh. And it honestly felt really good to talk about it and to just vent might be the right word about how I just disagree with how society uses money and how we as people need money to live lives, to have a good life. Good life is not the right word. To have all of the opportunities and resources that we want to have, all of the things to accomplish, all the things. Now I'm just getting a little tongue-tied. Oy vey. So I wrote a couple things down that I wanted to talk about. And the first thing, what is actually interesting. So I've been on medication now for probably close to 2 months, and medication for my anxiety and depression. And I have been very consistent with taking my meds every morning. And this morning I was sitting and I was just about to go into therapy and I was reading, and from the site visit I had this morning, a question that I asked kept coming up and my brain was like beating me up over this question. And whenever I feel embarrassed, a lot of anxiety will wrap around that thought and just like ruminate in my brain. And in that moment, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot to take my meds this morning. And these uncontrollable thoughts that I've sat with and continued to forgive myself over like 3 or 4 times, interrupting my book and reading to sit and out loud forgive myself over, and still having a hard time moving past this thought. Why am I having this difficult of a time? And it made me realize of actually how beneficial in that moment that meds have been for me. And I knew that they had been beneficial, but I had never had a moment in with that gap of not taking them and experiencing what it was like without them after I've been on them for a period of time. And I'm just grateful for a therapist who advocated that for me and advocated that if it was something that I was open to trying, to try it if I wanted to. And being on medication has helped me greatly. And it has helped me with the not only just all of these ruminating thoughts that'll run through my head, but I feel like I can kind of take a breath out of the water and not be treading water all the time. And so I don't feel exhausted as much, which is great. And it's allowing me to not live inside of that cycle. And now the other thing that it's kind of cleared space and shown me is just how difficult it is for me to focus on one task or to focus on a list and get things done. So that's another conversation. But I am going through the testing process to see if I do have any diagnoses. And so I will know if there's something actually attached to that for a reason here in the next month or so. Oh, since the last time I podcast, my parents were in town, and it was just such an amazing visit. And I'm so grateful, one, for their time and generosity of them coming and visiting us. They were our first overnight guests in our home, and to have them here and have them love on us. And they helped us so greatly by helping us remove all the demo from the basement. And my dad helped really break down some of the pieces that I didn't know how to remove or make into smaller chunks to take up the stairs, and to actually see that space as bare bones as it can be and see the potential that exists there. It was such a gift. They helped us in ways like tremendously, just seeing things that we hadn't put in our home yet of this would be nice to have here, like a rug in the kitchen or in the downstairs bathroom, and a ladle for soup and a bigger measuring cup. And all of these things sound so menial, but they meant so much to have and to use over the last couple of weeks now that we have had them, and what a difference that it's made. And I'm grateful for parents who come into my life and want to help me settle in a way that I didn't know that I needed. And before they came, I was feeling disconnected from myself to a certain level. And this was my first season, first Christmas not doing it with family. It was just Nick and I, and we went over to a friend's house on Christmas Day, and it was a different kind of holiday because of that. And while I'm so grateful that we got to spend it in our house together for the first time, it was so refreshing to be around my family and to be loved on from family in that way. And I'm still developing community here and friends here. And I was driving home today, and it made me realize just how appreciative I am to have people in my life who love on me, but also how much I want that here in my community now, and to have someone to call and say, "Hey, can I come over?" and or like to connect with, and who can empathize with what's going on in my life and be up to date on those things. I would love. And I would love friendship in that way. And it's something that I yearn for, and would love to connect with people, like-minded individuals who can help challenge, and I can be their friend and they could be my friend, and it can be a mutual relationship. And I crave that from friendship. And I think sometimes it's difficult for me to connect with people on a real level. I'm really good at that when they're sharing about their life, but I don't know always how to share about my own. And I want that. I want that deeply. And having my parents here, just it helped reignite life into me in a way that I needed and missed. And being out and about and exploring and seeing new places of town and having new experiences. And I had been going through these really heavy bouts of depression over the last month and a half before they came. And I just feel a lot lighter, and it feels like I was cared for in a way that I needed. And I'm so grateful to them for that, and for that energy and time that they gave us. And it was just an amazing visit, and everything about it was just so easy. And it was really a beautiful time. And I'm so grateful for my parents and who they are, and the home that they created for us to be raised in, and just the amazing people that they are, and how I am so blessed to have parents like them. And there are so many things that I will take from them into life moving forward. And I am beyond grateful for all of those gifts. It was really nice. It was really nice. And I don't take it for granted of just how amazing of parents that I have. And I don't take it for granted that they're both still here with me. And I appreciate them. And it was a real time of reflection of just how much I appreciate them. It was cool too because we got to introduce them to a couple of friends and my neighbor, and it was cool to show them our city that we live in now and our life and what we are building here. And from a year ago when they were here, our life has changed a lot, and owning this home and living in this community is a huge aspect of all that change and growth. And to be able to show them that this is our life and to be proud of that and to be able to find ease and comfort in that was really, really cool. And coming from where we were in Aurora, and they saw that and saw just how difficult of a place we were in, and being in our first year of marriage. And now we just celebrated our second anniversary yesterday. And I'm really proud of Nick and I am proud of all that we have grown together with and a part in and built some foundation for ourselves that we're continuing to build and build off of. And life is beautiful. I'm grateful. With that, I've been in a lot of transitional places recently. I mentioned this earlier in the episode of transitioning out of my independent contractor work and applying for full-time jobs. And I feel ready for that. I'm ready to have a schedule and to be learning and growing in a new position and in myself. And it's also feels strange. And I crave for it now so badly that I've made the decision that that's what I want, that now I'm antsy and I don't know what to do with all my time. And so I've been spending a lot of my time reading. Truthfully, I've read quite a handful of books this month already, and it feels really great to sit and read. And it's been something to occupy my time and my mind and to grow my mind. And I appreciate that. And I've gotten really into reading fiction, and I really probably a decade of my life had gone by without me picking up a book and reading it for fun. And I had a lot of reading trauma as a kid and comprehension issues and attention issues. And so reading had always been a challenge for me. And I had a teacher one time not believe me for finishing a book, and she told me I was a liar and called my mom down from the office to essentially get me in trouble. But then my mom confirmed that I had read the book, and I just have never been a fan of it. But as I've started to lean into it this year and make it more of a habit in my life and identify with being a reader and loving reading, it's become something I really enjoy. And I went to the public library and checked out my first couple books yesterday. I've been using the free library that's in our neighborhood, which I love, but it got to a point where I had either read all the books or the other ones in there I wasn't interested in. And so I was like, okay, it's time to go to the actual library. And I enjoyed that so much. And it was cool because I got to put some books on hold that I want to read that are series continuers from ones that I started from the free library. And it feels like a really growing fiery passion inside of me. And I love that. That's been how I've spent a lot of my time recently. And to kind of distract me from being in this transitional place and from all of the money thoughts and the unknown. And I yeah, it's just it's I don't know. It's been an interesting time inside my mind, and I want to gain more clarity about what's next and what I want. And part of me actually doesn't want to sit with that. And another part of me knows that I need to. And sometimes I'm like, would it just be easier to not? I don't know. I don't know. I know the answer. I do know the answer. I do know. And I have not wanted to sit with myself and actually look at my thoughts and accept them. Acceptance is such a big part of clarity. And I haven't wanted to do that part. In other news though, I am in the process of applying for grad school, and I just had my interview this past weekend, and I'm excited to find out in the next couple of months what that will look like and if I get accepted. And it's one of those things that I never thought that I would go back to school, but I found a program that uses contemplative education, and the program itself is a combination of ecology and psychology to make a master's in eco psychology. And it interests the hell out of me, and the connection between humans and nature, and learning more about the social impacts of that. And I want, I'm excited about the possibility, and what I keep telling myself is if it's meant to be, it'll be. And if it's not, it won't. And I am comfortable with that either way. And even just sharing something like that in this space when it's not a guarantee, it's making me like, ooh, ooh, is this something that I should share when it's not fully known of what the outcome will be? And that's part of this. It's part of my journey. And if it's not an acceptance and it's not the path that I lead down, then I know this process is going to lead me down another path, and it's all a stepping stone towards the right direction and towards my direction. I don't know if like right or wrong is a part of that. It's just the direction that I'm taking, and I'm grateful to be able to share that in this space and to be vulnerable about the things that are still in the works in my life. And all of this is like in transition, right? That's why this episode is called that. And not knowing what's next or how it's going to happen, but knowing that in the transition, I'm going to grow and I'm going to learn about myself and what I need, and heal little pieces of myself along the way. And I I'm learning how to be comfortable with the transitions and knowing that they are all leading me to the greatest good for all and the greatest good for me. And that's good enough for fucking me. Yes, it is. Because I know that what is coming is for the greatest good. And I'm going to continue to see myself through the eyes of unconditional love and see my journey that way, and continue to lean into this embodiment and this faith that is inside of me, and trust that I am creating my own direction. And it's not right or wrong. It's just the direction that I'm taking and the choices that are leading me there. I love you. Thank you for sharing this space with me today and for listening to the updates about my life and me rant about money and how I don't agree with how it works in society. And I believe in the transitions, and I'm grateful to be able to sit in this space and share it with you today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Go out, love loudly, be awesome, take up space. The world needs your voice, your uniqueness, your authenticity. You are the only one that can give that to the people around you. I love you. Bye.